The first season of The Terror burrows further into aesthetic, generic, and thematic territory than just about anything in modern television. Like the ship that gives the show its name, it stalks headlong into uncharted territory and finds unimaginable sights. Though based on a novel by Dan Simmons written only a decade prior, it behaves like a novel written centuries ago, as if a picaresque were hijacked by paranoia and misfortune. The Terror is the closest anyone has yet come to building an explication on an epic scale of the fate of the Demeter, the ship that carried Dracula to London. The show, created by David Kojanek and Sue Hugh, concerns the crews of the historical exploration ships the Terror and the Erebus, disappeared looking for the Northwest Passage in the 1840s. The HMS Terror was constructed to fight the War of 1812. Like the men aboard her, she had a storied past. Her glory is long forgotten by the time she was abandoned. The Terror has ambition to spare, giving rich life, history, and agency to the dozens of men who crew both ships in their final years.
Each Sunday they leave me with a housemaid while they attended a Catholic mass. I was frightened for them. I've been told they were doing some great, unforgivable thing. Then, one morning, they took me with them. I was shaking. The service was not the howling spectacle of sin I'd imagined, but it was beautiful. The singing sounded delivered by angels themselves. When it came time for the Eucharist, I found myself moved to step forward. My eyes were surprised, but pleased. I could see. I took the wafer on my tongue, drank from the chalice, felt clean. With the body and blood of Christ within me, I felt forgiven of every poor, weak, or selfish thing within my soul. It was a perfect moment in a whole imperfect life.
At the helm are three officers, played by Tobias Menzies, Kieran Hines, and Jared Harris, each drifting away from a different fate back home in England. Their fitness for the mission, and for life as an aristocratic emissary of the Queen's Navy, are inversely proportional.
Making a third wound here, entering my chest.
Like the shot that killed Lord Nelson at Trafalgar.
And had it not used up most of its energy on my arm, yes, I might have ended. Same as him. They finally got me back to the Cornwallis, where it was our very own Dr. Stanley, in fact, who dug out the shot.
That battle turned the war. The Qing mission came aboard to sign the treaty 5 weeks later.
And by which time I was up and about with my arm in a sling, smiling for the official portrait. Have you seen it?
Tell us about Burgess Island, why don't you, James? That's a capital story.
It is no coincidence that the man among them who would not be missed back home, Harris's Captain Crozier, is the one who seems to understand the great white nothing that stares them in the face. Like a Merchant Ivory film, or Bernardo Bertolucci's 1900, men who seem fated for greatness, for the formaldehyde-soaking stupor of importance in the colossal waste of English society, are waylaid by an unlikely groundswell. But rather than passion or political upheaval, the men on the Terror and the Erebus are undone by the rift between theoretical expertise and the harsh reality of experience, and by the resistance from the land and people the Empire wished to best. The Terror details the slow vengeance of the last place on Earth to be pillaged by Europeans. Their voyage begins to unravel when they accidentally kill an Inuit with a spiritual link to a monster lurking in the ice. The creature is the living embodiment of every native soul uprooted by the colonizing country the ships represent. It beats them handily. Identity forged over centuries cannot be changed with bullets or bonds, and the ice will not break because the men so will it. The Empire's death throes are rendered in bursts of surreally elegant horror. The show depicts England and the Arctic encampment with the visual grace of an installment of masterpiece theater, which makes the intrusions of horror. The gore, like decoupage on a tale of officers proving themselves, all the more shocking and unsettling. As conditions deteriorate, the men on the Terror are betrayed from within, as their heedless designs on the quiet earth curdle into fear and panic. Their food, poisoned by lead, kills them from the inside. This is metaphorically externalized by the mutiny organized by the imposter Hickey, played by Adam Nagaitis. Is like a character from Dickens, shrouded in secrecy and animated by strange purpose.
Would you unpack checking with Mr. Darlington, the corker? He's on the orlop.
The orlop, sir, is
Deck just below. Have you been on a ship before?
not like this one, sir.
Change of pace, then.
Change of everything, sir.
Hickey assumes another man's identity to jump the line to respectability, and as such he is Crozier's negative image. Crozier despises the society that rejected him, and Hickey's eagerness to prove himself awakens a violent contempt in both men, and ends in savagery to rival that of the monster in the snow.
For the crimes of insubordination, neglect of duty, disrespect, brutality, kidnapping, and dirtiness, Petty Officer Cornelius Hickey will be flogged 30 lashes as a boy.
The presence of the Inuit, as well as the slow trudge towards destiny, deliberately move the story into anti-Western territory. The writers had Monty Hellman's existentialist early Westerns in mind, and I'd add only that the dread majesty they achieve occasionally recalls J. Lee Thompson's The White Buffalo. The most welcome surprise in the frigid maelstrom are the transcendent grace notes found by the obscenely talented cast.
The light will travel faster, but less so the colder it is. Or something to that tune. It's a reason to shoot off a 6-pounder anyway. You must hear it down here. Do you remember the old lad on the Prince Regent that Doxies used to call 6-pounder? Where's he right now, do you think?
Jared Harris digging in himself for the nerve to guard against his own failures, and the next horrid sight sure to greet him each time he goes above deck.
There also couldn't be a greater need. I'm going to be unwell, gentlemen. Quite unwell, I expect. And I don't know for how long. A week? No. 2. Perhaps more.
Paul Reddy as Henry Goodsir, and his heartbreaking misplaced confidence in the essential good of human beings.
Yes, go. Be safe. Stay with us. I'll talk to the men and make it safe for you. We owe you that. I do. I wish you could come to England and see for yourself. It's not like we are here. People there are good. They are good.
The gently suggested and deeply felt love between John Lynch's kindly Bridgens and Kevin Guthrie's Pegler.
John. Can we sleep?
Yes. Help me get him up. Hold on, Henry.
Tobias Menzies discovering humility and empathy as his body withers and his confidence fails.
That didn't humiliate me to live. So all of those stories, you would have my biographer Talia's courage. It's all vanity. Always has been. And we are at the end of vanity.
Ian Hart's indefatigable, cockeyed optimism. The Terror is an immense object, a show never seen the same way twice. A herd of some of the greatest actors in the world playing against one another. A bounty of forbidding light and crooked antique visions. It is a wonder, a kind of miracle that Kajanik and Hugh organized such a towering achievement. A feast of horrors great and small. Who knows what the second season of The Terror will look like, but it will be built on the most solid foundation imaginable. A near-perfect season of otherworldly television.